Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can talk about whatever. Yeah. So you recently got back from Mexico shooting that Nowness project. Tell me about it.
Well, they do it's a series called In Residence, and where they go and feature artists in their homes. But it's mostly an architectural piece about the artist's home. But yeah, we went and shot Pedro Reyes and Carlo Fernandez. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, it looked great. I really liked it.
Pedro is an architect, sculpture artist, and Carla is a fashion designer, and they're married, and they have they call it the caveman from the future.
So how did that project work? Because does Nowness they commission projects?
Yeah,
so they give you a budget and everything, and then you go out there and they fly you out.
Yeah, they have they call them episodes. So this is one episode of a series called In Residence on Nowness. I loved them. I've been wanting to do one for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm happy they asked.
Yeah.
And I was manifesting to go to Mexico anyway, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't really ever vacation. I can't remember the last time I've ever vacationed. I always travel places for work and then end up staying and hanging around and checking it out.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, just speaking about manifesting things, I feel like that happens a lot in terms of the freelance lifestyle. You know, you kind of think something, you want something to happen, and then for some reason it just occurs for some reason.
You're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky, and sometimes it doesn't, but I guess what I'm talking about is really putting that energy out there. And we were talking about it earlier about just having a positive mindset and, and projecting positivity rather than negative feelings.
I've been really conscious of the brain space. What's taking up most of my thoughts? Is it fear-based thoughts? Is it manifesting thoughts? Is it futuristic thoughts? Am I steering away from the present too much? So I think that comes back to it too. It's I think manifesting is real. If you think about something really deeply and manifest it and really want it and have the right attitude, I think, anything's possible.
Yeah. Do you think that comes from, I mean, I know that you've been recently reading a lot of those Pema Chodron books. Do you think that is part of her ethos that you've indoctrinated into your own?
Yeah. Well, she's, in a lot of Buddhists, all about living in the moment, the present time. The futuristic thinking is kind of toxic in a way for some people, but it really is all about living with your breath, right? Being one, having a oneness with your spirit. But yeah, I think it is from that a lot. I only started reading again a couple months ago. I didn't read forever. I just watch things and I would read art books and things that I'm interested in, little short articles or poetry, but I never read books front to back for a long time. And I'm beginning to realize the power of reading and learning again.
Well, what about listening to different things? When I was walking into the space, you were listening to that thing. I don't know exactly what you were listening to, but you were listening to something on YouTube.
Yeah, it was a spiritual podcast.
Yeah.
I actually forget the guy's name, but he's nice. His name's Wayne Leary. I don't know, but yeah, he was talking about something interesting. It was his mother recently passed, and he started just having a different discussion with what death was, what happens when we die, and he was, as he was saying goodbye to his mother, he was looking at different pictures of her, one when she was 10 years old, one when she was 30, one when she was 60, one when she was 75, and one when she was about to die. So all these stages, and he was looking at it, and he was I wonder which one is my mother. was she the 10-year-old version of herself, or was she the 90-year-old version of herself? He was like, because he didn't recognize every woman because the body changed so much.
Yeah.
But his whole relationship with death was that we're infinite beings, and that this body is a vessel in a way, and this is, you know, we're so much more than our body. And which is, it's a nice thought.
Yeah.
But that's what he was talking about when you were coming in. You know, just puffing that sativa, listening to
mad chilling.
Yeah, I was just getting in the zone for you, Yosh.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I was like warming up my language, you know.
What do you think about? I mean, you know, since we're on the subject of death, like, what is your stance on that? I mean, are you afraid of death, or you? Like,
I mean, I'd be totally lying if I said I wasn't afraid, but I think that.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm afraid of dying. You know what? I'm actually not afraid of dying, because when you die, you die. I'm more afraid of not achieving all the things I want before I die.
Interesting.
Actually, I feel like I have a lot to do.
Yeah.
And I worry that, you know, that's my only fear, is dying too soon before I get to the things I need to do.
Yeah.
Basically, I feel like I've always been a bit on a mission. I've always lived kind of quickly. You know, even when I was like young, I feel like I've lived life pretty fast. So,
and now you're slowing that process down?
Yeah, trying to.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about this recently, about the whole idea of death, and I actually don't think I'm afraid of dying.
Yeah.
Not that I'm like trying to actively seek it, but I don't. I mean, I guess it's kind of easy to say because I'm not about to die.
I think it's interesting to understand death and research it, because I mean, even what Pema says a lot, it's like, to understand fear or to conquer fear, you have to understand fear first.
Yeah.
You know, you have to get to know it. You have to move closer to it. Most people move away from their fears, and they're never going to become, you know, their fullest one self, I guess. But if you move closer to it, I guess that's when you become your fullest, most, you know, mindful state of being, I guess. You know.
Have you ever done DMT?
No.
No?
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it like?
Well, I've done it once, but I feel like I didn't have the full experience that I should have. I don't know if it's because of the strength of the actual, the chemical strength of the actual DMT that I was taking, or maybe the surrounding, but I did it one time, and you know how there's a lot of people talk about having this sort of like near-death experience, or these really like existential like experience.
Yeah,
I didn't really. Yeah, I didn't really have that. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I need to do it again. But yeah,
that stuff kind of scares me. I always feel like I'm never gonna come back.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just gonna like be gone and lost in this abyss of DMT forever.
Oh.
Yeah, like never return. I don't know why I feel like that, but I'm pretty influential to drugs. I can't do many drugs. I don't do any drugs. I just eat mushrooms sometimes. Yeah. Like a tiny little bit here and there.
Yeah.
And I think that is healthy for me. And I smoke weed, but I don't even drink alcohol or do any drugs. I feel like it fogs me up, actually. And even the coming down off of it fogs me up. So I only like the more, like weed to me helps me. It helps me sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, it helps my body relax, like we were saying.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, I mean, I think, you know, with any of those substances, but especially like, you know, psychedelics and psilocybin mushrooms. And
I do ayahuasca, though. I've never tried it, but I would try it if I was like in the jungle.
Ayahuasca actually scares me.
Oh, does it?
Kind of.
Because you like kind of die, and then, or you like vomit and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's how like visceral an experience vomiting is. Like that might be part of it, but I don't know. I am, but I'm not. Actually, now that I think about it more, I think, and now that I've done like so much psychedelics, especially like this past year, might be ready for it. I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking. Myself,
like we're sitting here in Los Angeles. It's hard to even think. But if I was like traveling through the jungle and I met some like shaman, I'd be like, yeah, okay. You know, I wouldn't do it like in this mindset because we have to wake up and we like do our work.
Yeah.
You know, I can't even think about it. But if you were like in the jungle somewhere,
yeah.
I think you would think differently. Be like, yeah, I'd be open to this if it was like the right situation. You know.
Yeah. Is it hard for you to disconnect from work at times?
Yeah, I never disconnected. That's the problem. But yeah, it's funny. In the Mexico project with Pedro, he said spare time haunts him, and I feel the exact same way. I don't really have spare time because every minute I spend is working in some way. Like even if working, I actually find I'm more recently finding the best work I do is just walking around the neighborhood.
What do you mean, mental work?
Yeah. I go for like maybe 2-hour walk every day. And it's, I think the best work I do is while I'm walking. I don't bring my phone and I don't bring anything, but I bring a pen and I just write every thought I have on my hands and my arms.
Okay.
And I get home and I have all these like, cause I think about so much thing. I'm like really thinking and I'm just writing on my arm.
Yeah.
And then I get home and I like kind of transcribe it because I just don't want to have my phone.
Yeah.
But
do you journal at all?
Yeah, tons. Yeah. My journals are what I have in my suitcase.
Oh, that's right.
That yeah, it's like,
yeah.
I put my journals in a safe in the bank.
Yeah.
I'm so scared of losing them, actually.
Yeah, I found that to actually help me a lot is to do a sort of stream of consciousness journaling to where I don't do this every single morning, but you know, a couple times a week, you just wake up and you just start immediately when you wake up, you just start writing, you know, your thoughts, whatever those thoughts are, and you put it on paper, however many pages, 1 page, 3, 4, 5 pages, but just trying to declutter your brain. I think that really helps to start the day off that way. Yeah.
I actually think the best time to write is like 6 a.m. to like 9 a.m. Like I think I love waking up and writing because if I try to write anything at the end of the day, I'm so affected by the day and the energy of the day that I feel like the writing is short. It's not as fluid. Yeah. You know, but in the morning, that's when I feel like you're really writing something. That if you write something in the morning and look at it at night, it feels like a totally different person almost. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like reading it for the first time, kind of.
Yeah. Even if you look at journal entries from a couple days ago, or you know, a year ago, or just looking at certain things that you wrote at that particular time, can feel like a different person almost. I mean, depending on what it is, right?
Well, I think journals. I mean, I always call my journals time capsules because it's kind of like, it's kind of like all my tattoos as well. Yeah. I consider all the tattoos I have journal entries in a way.
Yeah. Why did you start getting tattoos?
I started super young. I think I was like 14 years old. And it was just cool then. Yeah, I think I did it because I played basketball and all my friends had tattoos. Yeah. And they were a lot older than me, so I just started getting them one by one. I wish I listened to people because some of the tattoos I got are awful, but luckily most of them.
Well, at least you didn't get them, you know, any really awful ones where it's like visible or you know, because
all the visible ones are new, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems fitting. We're in a tattoo shop and, you know, talking about tattoos.
Oh, yeah, because your girlfriend does the tattoos, right?
This is her studio.
That's awesome.
But I have a little corner, and I put all my stuff in the corner.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And this is like my disconnecting desk where I usually don't have any phone or computer or internet. And I just sit there with the sketchbook and
it's incredible. I like it.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I guess, I mean, segueing this a bit into your project, into 5011, can we talk a bit about that? Can you tell me about how this project worked with Kasper, and maybe even talking a bit about, the reason why you did this project?
Yeah. Well, speaking of drugs, Kasper first.
Yeah.
Well, the story of the album is Kasper found out he had cancer, and the 5 years of healing his cancer. Thank God he's cancer free now, but the 5 years of healing it, he made this record, and I knew about this experience, and I knew he was making a lot of music, like therapeutic music, ambient music, and he sent it to me when I was in the desert in Joshua Tree, classic moment, and I was doing a little mushrooms, and I listened to the record alone, like in the desert by myself, like on a little blanket, and just like staring at the sky, and it like the whole story of his record and the story of the film just like came together. And I called him out. I'm like, we can't just do one video for this record. We got to make a film for all the songs.
Yeah.
So we ended up like going to do this visual album project.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, we talked about this before, and I was saying that it's like the first time I think a project truly represents like the type of work I want to make as a director. So that feels like an accomplishment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it's a beautiful project. Yeah, it's an incredible project.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too, because you're saying that he sent it to you in Joshua Tree when you were in the desert, and you were just laying out and looking at the stars, and it also sounds like you get a lot of your inspiration from just, walking down the street, and doing the journaling, or not journaling, and doing like writing on your hand and your arm and stuff. And I there's a lot of times when we get either presented projects or we try to like force a project out, but I really think that the projects are actually already inside of you. They just you haven't allowed yourself the freedom to actually express it, And I know it's a little bit more complicated with like film projects and stuff, budgetarily and stuff, but I just have the feeling of that everything you need to say is already there, and you just intake certain things here and there and experiences and everything, but it's just so freeing to be able to allow ourselves to like have the freedom of expression and to create.
Yeah, I mean, big statement. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this project was too, because we weren't like, there's no like client or label or anything.
Yeah.
No one was telling us what to do. We were kind of doing whatever we wanted to do. Our only real restriction was like money and time. All like the traditional setbacks that you have doing low budget film stuff. You always wish you had more money and time.
For sure.
But I think it was beautiful, man. So like we made 11 films in 8 days on a little island called Livo, which means life.
What an appropriate name.
I think it means life. At least that's what I thought it meant the whole time. I think it means. Maybe we'll check that.
Well, we'll
fact check that, but I'm 99%. And we went to this island, and we were the only ones on this whole island. We basically could shoot anything we wanted on the island, and it was a totally amazing filmmaking experience. It was so harsh, though, at the same time. Like the weather and just a few things what made it really challenging. But
you mean like in the desert moments?
Yeah, in the desert moments, like our actor went to like the doctors 3 times shooting because we just pushed his body so much because there's a lot of performance and a lot of moving and just like really demanding, like to shoot that much. Like we were shooting like 15 hours a day for like 8 days, basically.
That's insane. And he has to move and you know.
Some of the films,
Yeah.
because we made 11, some of them he's like kind of dead. So someone's dragging him around. So those are the days he liked the best because he didn't have to move. And it was kind of like a rest day, but at the same time, someone was carrying him. So it was still like kind of strenuous.
Yeah.
But
I love that performance with that dancer as well.
Yeah, Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby Jean Smith, her name is. Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah, she was able to emote through her movement and expression, just in such a fluid and romantic and beautiful way. It was that is something, you know, watching her performance is something that I think when I think of just like modern, like contemporary dance and the way that it should portray movement and expression.
Like the way she dances.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was so lucky because she was a friend of a friend and we were shooting and I've wanted to work with her and she happened to be in Copenhagen when the day we were shooting. It was so fluke. And she literally just came and improv'd all of that. I mean, we gave her like motivation as in like she was playing his wife character who, in Kasper's words, carried him through the trauma. And so we physically made her carry the character, like over her shoulder, which is like he's like 200 pounds, and
That's
she
crazy.
did it.
He's 200 pounds.
Well, he was probably like 180, 190. He was like a tall Christian. His name is.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah, he was probably like 180.
Yeah. He's
Maybe?
a well bit.
Yeah, maybe 170.
Yeah.
180.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, a big man.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's all dead weight too.
Yeah, and dead weight. Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
I can't wait to release these films. I've been sitting on them for like a year because I'm hoping to do an exhibition of.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just like it's so expensive to do it.
Yeah.
So I haven't figured that out yet.
What do you think? What do you think inspires you about working with dancers specifically? Because I mean, we're talking about your project that you just did with Nina McNeely and Jasmine Albuquerque, and that project and some of these other dance projects that are dance-oriented projects that you've done in the past. Have you thought about that? You know, like what draws you to that?
I mean, I think it's like as much as I make art, I'm an admirer of art first, I think. And the reason why I like dance and musicians and working with music and dance together actually, because they're both like immediate expressions. Like for us, like as filmmakers or photographers or as filmmakers, photographers or writers, but writers is kind of immediate too. But as a filmmaker, there's so many steps that go into making an image. You know, it's like the process can so easily kill the spirit. And with dance and with music, it's so immediate that I'm almost envious that, like, when I see a dancer, they're kind of godlike to me. It's like I'm in awe. And when I like see an amazing musician like sing and play music, it's kind of godlike to me. Because it's so foreign. And I feel like that about some paintings and sculpture pieces. And like when you look at it and you're like, how? You're like, where did this come from? You know, you're just your jaw is dropped. Dance, I mean, out of anything moves me more than anyone or anything. Yeah, it's I've always been so infatuated by it.
Yeah,
it's intoxicating. When you lose yourself in it, it's like it's pretty. And I love to dance myself, but I just don't like. I would be too scared to dance like that. I just dance like, you know, with my elbows and my thumbs.
Nice, I like it. Yeah, like something about documenting that movement and trying to like portray a story with it in a narrative, or not even a narrative, but in a movement sense, and documenting it through film is, I don't know. I
love sitting behind a camera. That's honestly my most comfortable I am ever in my life, being behind a camera. I'm always slightly uncomfortable until that moment I get back behind the camera, actually. And working like kind of improvisational with dancers, me, a camera, and a dancer, that's my favorite. Those are my favorite moments because they can contort and move their bodies in like just beautiful ways, and to be able to like have a camera and documenting that's like, I think as top as it gets for me.
Where do you think the magic happens for you? Do you think it's behind the camera, or do you think it's when you're editing?
Definitely behind the camera, 100%. Yeah, everything else feels a little uncomfortable, like a little torturous, little second guessing. Like editing is so hard for me because I don't do it. Like I'm not a technical person at all. I like ruin every piece of technology I touch. If I touch this microphone, it might blow up. Yeah, I'm like the least technical person.
Yeah.
But it's fine. And I know other people are going to always be better than me at that. So I'd like to work with editors. But at the same time, that's just another place for communication and instincts and feelings to get lost. Like when you're working with a DP or cinematographer, there's that bridge you have to cross to like get those instincts. You have to like, to hold a camera and to work with, especially a dancer, you're like working a lot of instinctually of how to frame a shot.
Yeah.
And when you have to like send a message telepathically to a camera operator or to an editor to like feel something that you're feeling, there's so many different like spider webs that it can go through.
Yeah.
That's like all of those parts are a bit uncomfortable. When I'm standing behind a camera is the best it feels by far.
So for the 5011 project, did you have a storyboard, or did you have some sort of layout in mind, and then within that layout and that structure, then you went off base and?
Well, me and Kasper worked a lot prepping the story. I think he's an incredible artist, and for someone like him to trust me fully, it felt very nice. So I like put in the extra work because I felt a lot of his trust. But then I met Snor Rue, my DP, and together, me and Snor, we made the film. We made the visuals for the film.
Yeah.
We also worked with like a producer, Kasper Notliv, another Kasper.
Okay.
He was the producer who helped like kind of set it all up.
Yeah.
But the vision of the film started with me and Kasper and sort of ended with me and Snor. So it was like a triangle way.
Do you think that by working in the previs to be able to get all those moments on paper actually helped, instead of just going, flying out there and going directly off of instinct?
Working in the what? The prep?
Yeah, in the prep, like the pre-visualization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a long time to prep. So naturally I like thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
And I planned it. I kind of like prep how I paint, where I like draw something and then I'll paint over it, and then I'll draw something and I'll paint over it. So it's like kind of like letting your instincts feel it out, and then as time goes, you're figuring more of it out. You're going deeper in the depth of it. Yeah. Like really, it's like there's a million ways to do something, I think. Yeah. Even doing that project in Mexico for Nowness, it was interesting because anyone could go inside a house and shoot it. And I guarantee everybody would shoot it differently. Yeah. And it's so interesting that way, that it's really, it's instincts, but it's also prep. When I'm on set, I'm actually like, my favorite thing to do is to cross off shots. So it's like I always have a printout in my hand of all the shots I want, and I'm always like, my favorite thing to do is to cross it off because I know that I've done the work already. Yeah. And because when you're on set, it's like there's a million things that could happen to distract you, and if you don't have that reminder of what you're prepping and like what you're shooting, then I think it's really easy to get lost. So prep is important, but also things happen on the day that are magic. you roll with it.
Do you do it yourself? Do you do the storyboarding yourself, or how do you prepare for something like 5011?
Well, it started with Kasper sending me the music, and then I wrote the story. So yeah, the film part started with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, the nitty gritty of it, like, did you, like, make
Like
cards? Do you draw out
No,
the
I didn't actually
scenes, or-
draw. I drew some, but
Yeah.
mostly just lists. Like list after list, shot lists.
Oh, I see.
But I made I wrote like a story for it, because from film 1 to film 11, it's one story. It's about a man that finds out he gets sick, and then he builds this machine, kind of like in a Frankenstein style. And then the machine cures him, and then he's rebirthed into nature.
Yeah.
So this story itself had like this one arc through the 11 films. So if you watched 1 to 11, you would see the arc and you would feel the arc.
Yeah.
But you can also, the nice part about this installation is that you can go to 8 to 3 to 4. It's like all very abstract. So it's like, it's the same characters and the same locations and stuff. But it's split up into 11 songs and 11 films.
Yeah. No, I guess why I'm asking that particularly is because just, coming from like a photography background and going into a different medium, when you're shooting moving images, it's photography. You can pick up a camera and I can literally just take a photo of you and have you stand in the corner and, light you a certain way. And then that's just the image, and over time, these images accumulate, which eventually turns into the way that people perceive you, the way your style or whatever. Right. But with a film, you have like a specific objective, or you're like searching,
Like the prep, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it takes so long to
exactly. Yeah. That's why I'm wondering actually more so for me, because I'm thinking like, oh, that's an interesting process, and just working with different directors, I'm kind of seeing like these different processes and talking to different people, and I'm curious about the actual like process of creating the film.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like a bit anxiety, I think. Because, I've never had unlimited money and unlimited time to make stuff. I've always been under restrictions, and my ideas feel very big. So it's like, I can't wait for the day that I'm in pre-production and like, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
So in a way, like even on 5011, it's like, we had such a small budget, and the most of the time in prep, just figuring out how we were going to actually do it, actually like get there and shoot it.
Yeah.
Because like for this project, we had to take a van, a boat, like we were on an island, like, and getting all the gear there and like all the people we needed, all like the art, and like the boat was so small, like we literally had to like, and it was so strict. You had to load the boat in like 8 minutes or the boat was going to leave, because they wouldn't because it's like a ferry. Oh. So they wouldn't like just wait for us to load the boat.
Yeah.
So it was like basically like the Amazing Race filmmaking edition.
That's insane. Yeah.
But
so it's a lot of logistical sort of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think like the prep can kill the process a lot. And I dream of the day where I can have a budget to experiment. Yeah. Because I think I'll make my best work in the experimental phase, where we're not like having to check all the boxes before a film. We can leave some open ends and see what happens. Yeah. But it's hard to do that because there's such a strict budget all the time. Yeah. Time is money. Yeah. An extra day costs a lot of money to like have people there. But wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, I mean, once you crack that code, let me know. Let me know what you do.
Yeah, you'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there. Maybe I can help you crack the code. I don't know, but yeah, no, I mean, budgets, and I just recently worked on a project, like a small budget, kind kind of like a cinematic music video, and just trying to figure out, like, I executive produced it and produced it. So, just trying to figure out how to get all the pieces together and stay in that budget. I'll show it to you after. You might. It's
Okay.
like 90% done, but
Cool.
yeah.
I think regardless, like we were saying this before, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't hate on anybody or anything that people are trying to are making stuff. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, I think as long as like people keep making stuff, it's like good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think like whatever your process is, or like however you make things happen, like great.
Yeah.
Like people should express.
I agree.
It's just filmmaking's hard because it takes a lot of people on.
Exactly.
Time.
Yeah.
And then you get to a certain point in your career where you can't really like fuck around anymore. Like, I mean, I make films still on my VHS camera.
Yeah.
Like just me, and yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's your VHS camera. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I like how that came about too.
Yeah. Well, you inspired that, really.
Nah, I mean,
You did.
I
That
introduced you to the medium.
Yeah, you did
Yeah.
that film for the Lab magazine, right? On VHS.
Oh
Was
yeah,
that-
I did. Yeah.
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 Yeah, and I was like, yeah, it's cool. I mean, VHS to me, I mean, I'm born in '84, so like I grew up watching VHS.
Yeah, me too.
So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's such a nostalgic
Mhm.
medium
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, going back to just mediums in general, yeah, I think it's good to step into different mediums, like, how you're doing these oil pastels and drawings, and because I feel like, at least for like mental happiness or mental clarity, to be able to do something that's kind of like an immediate gratification thing, and also like photography, I feel like is more immediate gratification,
Yeah, it's still not as immediately, like it's not as immediate as dance or music, I think, because a dancer feels something and can move in that way. A musician hears something and can like, play it. It's still like photography. You need to have that unless you're shooting like landscapes or something. But I think me doing these oil pastels is like, it really comes out of a frustration of waiting. I feel like when you're collaborating and you're doing film projects and you're doing even photography projects, because like photo shoots, you still got to plan, you got to email, you got to like, who's showing up, what are we doing, what are you wearing, all that shit. Painting, dancing, music, they're so like, you feeling something, you're drawing. Like I'm so free-handing these pastels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're turning into these weird creatures, but it's not like it's not from anything, it's just like a total impulsive move.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I crave right now, for sure. I mean, I'm so I'm kind of tired of it, actually, the other world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that's what will help you continue, is by doing these sort of impulsive art pieces, and
Mm-hmm.
you're also building and creating like a different way of thinking.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to just like draw with your left hand.
Yeah, never tried that. I'll have to try it.
Yeah, next time you do your morning journaling,
Yeah.
do it with your left hand.
Oh man, that'd be so frustrating at first.
I kind of like it. We do.
Yeah.
We try it out once in a while, and it's like, it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's also, I think, like good for your brain.
Yeah.
In some way.
Mm-hmm. So what? I don't know. Like what sort of things have you been thinking about recently? Like, I don't know. Certain like teachings or certain things that you've been, like mantras or things that you've been trying to like ingrain in yourself recently.
Mm-hmm. Like
just in life,
personal,
in general,
yeah.
personally.
I've been trying to not have any expectations or judgments. That's like my main practice right now. I find that I've always lived in a way where I judged other people and I expected certain things in my life, or a certain behavior or something. So I've, like the past couple months, I've been really letting go of all of that. I feel like when people are like listening to me, or when I have conversations like this, it's more of a gift than an I'm not like expecting you to do anything. Like you being here in the studio and like talking, this is a real gift for me. I'm trying to like rewire my brain to like not expect anything ever.
Yeah.
And totally live like right now all the time, to the hardest, like in now, because I think my whole life I've lived a different way. So I need to work so hard at doing this, like not expecting anything, that it almost has to be somewhat aggressive, So I think like I'm constantly, that's why when you walked in here, I was listening, like I constantly forget, like something happens in your life, you lose a job or you get in an argument and you find yourself reacting and you're not pausing before the reaction. That's to me is my practice, because I've always been reactionary and I've always expected things. So I'm trying to pause, not expect anything, think about it, like have a healthier dialogue.
Yeah. Have a healthier dialogue with yourself, which in turn you have a healthier dialogue with other people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I hope that none of this sounds cheesy. It's weird because it's like,
I don't think it sounds cheesy.
Well, spirituality in LA, I think, certain things like, like what's your mantra, man? Or like, or like, what's your star sign? You're like, don't tell me. Scorpio. I knew it.
Yeah.
Like, don't even say anything. Wait. Scorpio. Yeah, I knew it. Shh.
Yeah.
I'm such a mystic.
Yeah.
No. I mean, but for real, like I have like a new found love for sort of that in a non-culty or cheesy way. It's more of just like understanding our life.
Yeah.
And what,
No, for sure. I mean, and I definitely feel that from you. I don't think that, it's like a typical LA, like sort of, you're not looking at it at like that sort of typical LA spirituality point of view. It's more of
but I'm like talking about Joshua Tree and spirituality,
Well, yeah, I think
I make it clear to all those viewers.
Yeah.
That, it's coming from like an authentic place. Like I'm 34 years old. I'm not like easily impressed by anything.
Yeah.
I think it takes me like, I have to like really believe something and, try to understand it and like investigate it before I'm like so easily lured into the culty spiritual world.
Oh yeah. No, I totally get it. I mean, we both live in LA, so we know a lot of people that either work in the spirituality sector or like trying to get into the spirituality sector or whatever. And I actually was very skeptical. Maybe it's because I came from like a religious background, and then going into this like modern world LA like spirituality thing, and then surrounding myself with more people that are in that realm. But like I've because of me being skeptical and not just immediately embracing it, I feel like I've understood it a lot more. And there will be those like keywords or like mantras or whatever, or like a spiritual materialism sort of a thing, that will exist out there because people want to belong to these certain things, or like they want to find
yoga.
Yeah. People want to find things that they belong to. And I understand that feeling of being lost and trying to like find acceptance in something. And that's fine. I think, it's like I said, I've been like skeptical of it, but also my business partner's wife is a medium. So
I believe in all of
it. No. Yeah. I now I do too. Yeah. It's pretty, I'm still kind of like, my mind is a little blown by certain things that I've encountered, but yeah, it's a lot to understand something that you can't, you can feel, but you can't really tangibly.
Well, I think like experience is education. So
yeah,
I think like people that fear something or are skeptical about something is something you actually don't even know about.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's why people who watch Fox News are like scared of terrorists. You know, it's not real. They're just sitting at home watching Fox News, and they're telling them, they're like implanting that in their head. I think like if people just got out and experienced things, it'd be a less fearful world.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. I'll ask one more question. Do you have any advice for artists or creatives? I think I asked you this question last time, but what do you think?
What would be my advice today?
Give us something good. Just kidding.
Pressure's
on.
I would say, I was just thinking about what I would change. Like if I could give myself advice, like what would I tell myself?
Yeah.
Maybe we wait for the banging.
Sure.
Yeah. If I had to give my younger self advice, I'd probably say be less impulsive and really think about what you want to say as an artist. I think everyone's journey is different, but my earlier life, I was just like about doing things. I wasn't really even thinking about what it meant. I was just like doing stuff like and very impulsively, mostly out of survival, but I also, didn't really ask myself, like, what does this mean? What is this gonna represent? And what is it gonna say about me? I didn't ask those. Yeah. Now everything I make, I'm asking myself that question, and I'm picking projects based on my intent and my intentions about what I want the world to know about me. So I would say, like, make sure, my advice would just be like, ask yourself why, and set intentions behind your art, and then go make it. So that I just think there's so much of everything right now in this world. Like, how do you get seen? And I think the people that are being most honest to themselves end up having a longer career versus the, Instagram famous people. Yeah. Where they're doing stuff out of trends. And the people that are doing things that are most honest to themselves, I think, they might not see success right away or instant fame, but all of that is bogus anyways. Yeah. I think what I now practice is like the intent, I guess.
I like it.
That was like a very long-winded advice.
No, I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's everything intention,
It is, yeah.
Like, even though we stopped or whatever. I think it's, even for us, how we spend our time. Like, that's why, like, walking to me, like, that's, like, such an intention to do. Like, I make it pretty, religious to spend time without my phone and spend time alone with my thoughts, which is really hard to do. Yeah. When you live in a house with roommates and a girlfriend, and so like that walking is the most important thing for sure. Yeah. I would say go on more walks. I found out. That's what I would say. My advice to younger people: go for more walks without your phone. I found out that a couple Christmases ago, I've always wondered where me and my brother got like our creative spirit. Because no one in my family is really, they're creative, but they're not like artists. I was like, has there ever been like an artist in the family? And I found out like a few years ago that my grandfather's father, Fred Close, was a poet. And I found all these poems. I actually published some of them in the Lab magazine, but I found all of them. And then I realized, I was like, and I was reading them, and I was like, it's kind of similar to my writing a little bit. I feel really connected to his poetry. And maybe it's just because I was excited to find out that I was like, yes, an artist.
That's awesome.
But I found out that he wrote all of his poems walking.
Wow.
And he would sit on it. My grandmother would say he was the worst person to go on walks with because it would take like 4 hours because he would like sit on a rock and write. And he'd be like, oh, come on, let's go. We're on a walk. And he would just like sit on a rock and write. And I think that's still in my
no,
psyche.
For sure. I mean, there's a definite power to walking, and you activate this sort of like mind-body connection as well, because you're physically moving, and you're not just sitting here staring at a laptop and trying to get work done, right?
I get just as much from walking than I do meditating. I think it's like a very similar.
Yeah, we're just walking and
connection.
observing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Walking, observing, understanding. And you travel into these different thoughts, and it's a.
I'm curious,
cathartic.
when you're fighting, when you're doing your Brazilian jiu-jitsu, what is your meditation like? Where do you go in your head? Because you're sparring with some guy. He wants to kill you. You want to kill him. Where are you in your head when you're in that moment?
Well, it's different if it's a striking sport or if it's Brazilian jiu-jitsu. With Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it's a lot more slowed down.
Right.
So I can actually, when I'm in the sparring session and connected to the person, I can actually close my eyes and do all the movements. Like sometimes I just do that. I don't even look at the person. And
You're just feeling the body?
I feel the way the person's body moves and then how I can move with it. And so...
But what about sparring? What about like if you're toe-to-toe with somebody?
If we're striking, I try not to even... I don't even look at someone's face, and I don't even try to like visualize them as a person necessarily. I think of it more about... it's almost like me fighting myself in a way, and then me trying to react. And,
because I guess you're like trying to anticipate his move so that he could punch you, you dodge it, and then you punch him. Right?
It's that. And you are also seeing what the other person does, and you see their tendencies, and then so when you notice these small tendencies, like a way a person throws a jab, a way a person like like tilts their shoulder a certain way, and you start understanding these nuances, so then you calculate that in your brain, and you say, okay, this person's going to do it this way, so I'm going to try to feint and do it this way to make them react, and if they react, then I go in and do another strike. So it's like,
I mean, that's probably comes from your jiu-jitsu, like understanding the body and seeing how they like kind of rock from one foot to the next, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like to think of just fighting. So I've come up with this theory of fighting and also connecting it to art. But I think, and I teach this to the Brazilian jiu-jitsu students, that Brazilian jiu-jitsu and fighting is like connective tissue. So you want to not think about the techniques necessarily, but you want to think about how you can connect it to the next thing. Either that or how you can trick the other person to think you're going to do this, but then you do the other thing. So it's like you have to you have to calculate that stuff in your brain, that you're this goes back into like the other things. You need to be 3 steps ahead to where this person's going to react in a certain way, so then you go and do this next thing.
So you're, in a sense, doing prep work, but you're doing it in the moment. Because you're, like, thinking 3 steps ahead.
Yeah.
You're, like, thinking about it, but you're doing it at lightning speed. Because if you
think
too much, you'll get hit.
You have to, I mean, and granted, like, I'm not, like, the best of the best. There are people that are, like, do this professionally, but I'm understanding how I can utilize my brain and my physical and mental capabilities to utilize it to my best advantage, But yeah, I guess striking is kind of like fast chess, and then groundwork Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like slow chess. So
Interesting.
you get these different.
Have you ever seen
things.
the Will Smith when he played Ali? Muhammad Ali?
I actually haven't, but yeah.
That's one of my. I don't know. I mean, that's like one of my favorite movies. I just get like so pumped up, and like it's so emotional.
Yeah.
But I like the way they shot the fighting too.
Oh yeah.
Stuff.
There was a really good boxer that played Sonny Liston in that film.
Oh yeah, he was great.
Yeah, I forget what his name was, but yeah.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
Should we light this up?
Yeah, sure. Cool. Well, I guess that's it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we keep talking.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Well, actually, after this, I actually should head out because I gotta get dinner with my girlfriend. Yeah.
That should be the beginning of the piece.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey,
actually, I gotta leave.
Yeah.
I gotta get dinner with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Justin Tyler Close.
Yeah.
And our artist Decoded. Episode 111.
120 maybe? I don't know. I'll have to see.
Wow.
Yeah, 120 I think.
That should be the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it entertaining. Funny. We're funny guys.
Yeah.
Where are you going for dinner? Maybe if you say it on the line, you'll get sponsored.
We have one sponsor now.
Oh, yeah? I think that was fun. I mean, we're a couple stoners talking, but I think it was like
No, I think it's good, man.
fun.
Yeah, it's totally. It's
Yeah,
definitely
don't
fun.
even show me. Just put it on. I don't even want to hear
You
it.
sure?
Yeah.
All right, I have that on recording.
I don't. You do whatever you want. I don't regret anything I said.
Wait a second. Can I just have you really quick, just like signing off?
Yeah.
And just so I can have something to cut to, just in case.
Hello.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for coming on, and appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right. Let's smoke this joint.
Oh.